tonight.
Again, these allegations are completely false.
This is unconscionable. It's unacceptable.
How Texas lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle are responding to claims of migrant mistreatment by state troopers. Plus, should the Supreme Court be held to a higher standard? Congress prepares to vote on a code of ethics for the justices. And later,
I just kept telling myself and my baby that I'm so sorry that this had to happen to you.
emotional court testimony from women suing Texas over its abortion ban. What's at stake for patients and doctors if the judge tosses out the case? Capital Tonight starts right now. The battle over Governor Greg Abbott's border program is now wading into private property rights. A new report from the Houston Chronicle says state troopers put up razor wire on a farm in Eagle Pass despite the landowner's protest. This comes as a state trooper says Governor Abbott's billion-dollar border initiative is mistreating migrants crossing the Rio Grande. But as our Charlotte Scott reports, state Republicans remain defiant while Democrats are urging action.
Between Eagle Pass, Texas and Mexico, a buoy barrier floats in the Rio Grande, and wire fencing pierces the shoreline. The governor says both are meant to deter migrants from crossing the border between legal ports of entry.
I'm here on the border, and I just wanted to give you an up-close look.
Central Texas Republican Ellen Truxclair recently traveled to Eagle Pass to see the buoys herself. She says troopers from the Texas Department of Public Safety, or DPS, guide migrants to one of the 29 legal ports of entry.
The reality is Operation Lonestar is working. Migrants who need water or medical attention are getting it once they get to the U.S. border. And it's critical. It is critical for the safety of all involved that migrants go to one of the 29 points of entry in order to enter the United States. That is the only safe and legal way to do it.
Operation Lonestar is Governor Greg Abbott's multi-billion-dollar border security initiative. Truxclair believes the program should continue to be expanded, echoing Republican criticism that the Biden administration isn't doing enough to secure the border. But as DPS prepared to install these buoys, one medic sent an email to a sergeant. He described situations where young migrants were getting caught in the wire. The medic also said troopers were given orders to push people back into the water to go back to Mexico. DPS says there's no such policy, and Governor Abbott wrote on Twitter that no orders have been given that would compromise the lives of those attempting to cross the border illegally. But many Democrats are horrified by the allegations described in the medic's email.
Every human, regardless of what country they are from, deserve to be treated with dignity.
Although there is an internal investigation into the claims made in the email, Dallas Democrat Victoria Niave Criado says an independent one is needed.
When we look at potential violations of international treaties, when we look at the fact that we may be overstepping the Constitution and what it, due process rights. Like, those are significant concerns that warrant federal intervention.
Today, Democrats in the Texas Senate called on the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to investigate the claims. The president of Mexico says he doesn't believe DPS troopers would actually push migrants back into the water because that'd be, quote, inhumane. However, he does believe the buoys and wire are just for show and to get votes. For Capital Tonight, I'm Charlotte Scott.
With us now to discuss this further is Denise Gilman. She's the head of the Immigration Law Clinic at the University of Texas at Austin. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
What about Governor Abbott's argument that this is needed to deter illegal immigration, as he's been responding to the razor wire, the buoys that he's put up as well?
Well, a couple things about that. So first of all, again and again, we have seen that these various strict border measures really don't deter migration. And that's because most migrants arriving at the southern border of the United States are fleeing really dangerous situations in their home countries. And that's what's first and foremost on their minds when they're making the decision to travel. And then when they get here, it's so dangerous in northern Mexico that they're going to try to cross. And so all it really does to put up these dangerous new border implements is to push people into even more dangerous crossing areas. But also, I just have to say, to the extent that the governor is saying that the deterrence of migration is important for the safety of the migrants, and that argument has been made to prevent them from even ever undertaking the dangerous journey, I mean, that's just specious. It doesn't pass the laugh test. The idea that we have to actively hurt people, put them in danger so that they won't be put in danger by traveling to the United States, it just doesn't make any sense.
You're saying that because of the razor wire and things that
Absolutely. The razor wire, the buoys, all of these are very clearly going to hurt people, physically hurt them and possibly kill them. And it seems quite clear that that's kind of the intentionality of it.
Well, what kind of changes do you think this could bring for how state law enforcement, how the troopers are able to operate on the border? I mean, do you think that there will be any changes given what we're hearing from this medic and some of the allegations that are surrounding all of this?
Well, I certainly hope that there will be clear guidance sent out from all levels, from the federal government, from the state government, making sure that people understand, that rangers understand that they are to protect human life, not to endanger it. But bottom line is that as long as the state government keeps putting up razor wire and buoys in the middle of the water, people are going to be endangered. And so it's more than just guidance to individual officers. It's the whole structure of what's being put out there.
What about the floating buoy barrier? How legal is this? I mean, does it violate international agreement as with Mexico, as some of the Mexican officials have been saying and questioning?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that at a minimum, it violates the norms that require agreement between Mexico and the United States on any changes that happen to the Rio Grande, because that's our border. And so anything that's placed in that river really can affect borders. It can actually divert water and change our borders. And then there are arrangements. There's an international body that looks at the water itself to make sure that we're not creating flooding problems, other environmental problems. So those are all very serious legal issues that are out there. And in addition, we just don't really want the state of Texas engaging in international relations. I mean, this is a major international relations issue between two major countries.
Well, and we were mentioning the federal government also wanting to know more about the barrier. I mean, at the end of the day, what authority does the governor have? I mean, do you think that this just sets in motion a whole host more of legal lawsuits and various things moving into the future? Absolutely.
Many, many legal issues raised here. Everything from the question of whether it's only the federal government that can engage in foreign relations with Mexico and with immigration enforcement, questions about private property of owners of land along the border that are affected by all of this. And then there are real legal questions about state action putting people in danger. Is this legal? Probably not. It's a civil rights violation to actively put a person in danger.
Denise Gilman of the Immigration Law Clinic at the University of Texas at Austin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more refreshing stories about your community, click the subscribe button over here. You can also download our Spectrum News app and tune in to Channel 55 on Dish and DirecTV to get live news coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.